Hi everyone, it's Mandy here from the Healthy Living platform. I'm cooking at home today with the recipe pack that you've been given. So you will have had an onion, some garlic, some broccoli, a courgette, some carrots, some red cabbage, some tomato base, some butter beans, some herb paste and some bulgur wheat. So what we're going to make is a bulgur wheat tray bake. So we're going to put everything in the oven and roast it. I love doing this kind of dish, especially when I'm cooking for the kids, because everything goes in one tray, all gets cooked together. I don't have to keep checking it or stirring it that often, and there's just one dish to wash up, which is great. So I've prepped all the vegetables already. So into my roasting tin, I've preheated the oven, so the oven is at 180 degrees. So I'm going to put in my onion, which I've sliced. I've got a red onion, but you can use white onion as well. I've chopped up 2 cloves of garlic, that can go in as well. And the courgette, I cut the whole courgette in half lengthways and then sliced them into half moons, that can go in. The broccoli, some of the broccoli stems are a bit long, so I've cut them a bit smaller. You can eat the stalks of the broccoli as well. They all go into the roasting tin. And then on my other chopping board, I've got the carrot. And the carrot can take a little bit longer to cook than some of the other vegetables, so I've tried to cut it quite small. Like the courgette, I cut it in half lengthways and then cut them into half moon shapes. And then the red cabbage, I've cut it in half and then sliced it. So I've only used half of my red cabbage, and the other half I'll put in the fridge and I can use that later on for a stir fry or a salad. So when I'm putting the red cabbage in, I want to try and separate the leaves a bit so we don't have big chunks. But they're all separated so they can cook individually. So I'm just going to put the whole lot in actually, and then get the board out of the way and break them up. Okay, so you can see I've got lots and lots of red cabbage. Let's give that all a stir. We want the onion and the garlic to be nicely distributed. And if you've got kids at home, you can get them to help with the chopping of the vegetables. Sometimes little children find carrots quite hard to chop, but courgettes are really soft. They're a really good one for children to help chop, and little kids can help by separating the segments of the red cabbage as well. Okay, so you will also have had a tin of tomato base. So I'm going to put in a couple of spoons. I don't want to put too much in. I'm going to put in about 5, let's go for 6 spoons. The rest of the tomato base you can use to make a pasta sauce, or if you're not going to use it today and you've got a freezer at home, you can put it in a Tupperware box and freeze it and use it at a later date. Let's stir that. I'm also going to put in some ground cumin. If you don't have any ground cumin at home, you can just leave this out, but if you have got some, I'm going to add that. That's 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, some black pepper, and finally some olive oil. I'm going to measure my olive oil out, so this is 1 tablespoon, and if you measure it, then you know exactly how much oil you're adding rather than just pouring from the bottle. It's easy to end up adding quite a lot. So the first thing we're going to do is roast all these vegetables together with the tomato base, the olive oil, the black pepper and the cumin. I'm going to put it in the oven for 25 minutes and then we're going to add our bulgur wheat. So I'm going to pause the video now and we'll come back to it when the vegetables are roasted. Okay, so I've got the veg out of the oven after 25 minutes and it's all nicely cooked. So now I'm going to add my 250 grams of bulgur wheat. And I've got 500 millilitres of hot vegetable stock here. If you don't have any vegetable stock at home, you can use hot water. So we're going to pour that in. Get it in all the corners. Now my dish is hot because I've just taken it out of the oven. So I'm going to hold on to it with the oven glove while I stir it all together. So what we need to do is make sure that the bulgur wheat is covered by the liquid. So we'll give it a good stir, get everything nicely mixed together and get all the wheat in the liquid. So we're going to put it back in the oven and that is going to soak up all that liquid and be lovely away in the oven. I'm going to cover the dish with foil. If you have an oven dish with a lid, you can use that instead. I don't have a lid for this dish, so I'm using foil. Let's get that nicely secure. And I'll pop it back in the oven for 15 minutes. Right, I've just taken it out of the oven after 15 minutes. I'm going to take off my foil lid, and it's looking pretty good. I've got my butter beans, so I took them out of the tin and I drained them and rinsed them in a sieve. You can use other kinds of beans for this as well, or you could just leave it with just the veg. Chickpeas would be really nice, I think, in this. I just want those butter beans to warm through, so I've added them to the dish and I'm just giving them a good stir so they're nicely mixed in. I love the colours in this dish. I love the red cabbage and having that purple colour in my food. So I've got a jar here of herb paste. I don't want to put too much in because it can be quite strong, so I'm just going to put in a teaspoon, maybe a second teaspoon. I'll pop the rest of this in the fridge to use another time. And then again, I don't want any big blobs of herbs, I just want it to be nicely distributed to add a bit of flavour to the dish. And I'm just going to pop it back in the oven just for 5 minutes with the lid on again. And put the foil back on. I'm going to put it back in the oven for 5 minutes to warm through. Right, so it's been another 5 minutes. So this is the finished dish. Let's see if I can bring it a bit closer to the camera for you to see. And look at that, hardly any washing up at all to do, which is my favourite kind of meal. So we would love to see what you make with these ingredients. You can follow my recipe and make this if you like, or you can make something completely different. I'd love to see what you make. There's going to be some instructions sent out with how to enter, but there's a chance to win a cookbook. So please send your recipes across. Good luck!